The truth hurts, not because it's cruel, but because it's real. And in a world that constantly wraps us in comfort, distraction, and false praise, that reality can feel like a slap. But maybe that's exactly what we need. You see, the truth isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. And for far too long, many of us have avoided our own reflection. This video isn't here to make you feel good. It's not here to flatter your ego or sugarcoat your pain. It's here to strip away the noise so you can finally hear what no one else is willing to tell you, but what your soul already knows deep down. The uncomfortable truths you're about to hear, they have the power to set you free if you're brave enough to sit with them, reflect on them, and let them do their quiet work in your life. And here's something most people won't say. You might need to hear this more than once. These words aren't just for today. They're for every day that follows. Let them echo inside you. Come back, rewatch, practice, reflect. The world won't change overnight, but you can start changing the way you show up in it, starting now. If this resonates, subscribe. If it stirs something in you, share your story in the comments or once you stop running from it. 1. No one owes you anything, and that's what sets you free. You post something honest, something that came from the heart. A vulnerable moment, a story, a lesson, only to watch it float in silence. 2 likes, one from your mother, the other from someone who probably didn't even read it. You sit with that sting. You start wondering, why does nobody care? Don't I deserve more than this? And that's where the deeper truth begins to unfold, not with applause, but with discomfort. The truth is, no one owes you anything. Not their attention, not their empathy, not their understanding. And while that may feel cruel at first, it's one of the most liberating truths you'll ever accept. We live in a time where people are taught to expect instant feedback, immediate reward, and visible results. We're trained to believe that effort guarantees outcome. But life never signed that contract. The world doesn't promise you fairness. It doesn't owe you your dream job, your ideal partner, or the recognition you believe you've earned. The longer you live in that illusion, the more frustrated and powerless you'll feel. But the moment you stop expecting anything from anyone, that's when something inside you starts to shift. Your energy no longer drains toward disappointment. You stop announcing your goals because now you build in silence. You stop waiting to be seen because your focus turns inward. Quiet discipline replaces loud frustration, and your self-worth begins to grow, not from approval, but from integrity. When you release the idea that people must appreciate you, you start working for something greater. You begin to embody success, not perform it. You no longer ask, why don't they see me? Instead, you ask, how can I be better regardless of who's watching? This is how inner growth begins. This is how quiet confidence is born. And this is where you develop a power that isn't loud but immovable. Because no one can take away what they didn't give you. And it's important to realize that entitlement isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It hides in subtle thoughts. I supported them. They should support me. I worked hard, so I should be rewarded. I was kind. I should be loved back. These thoughts sound fair, but they're still forms of expectation. And expectation, left unchecked, becomes a quiet poison. It slowly replaces your gratitude with resentment. But when you shift your mindset, when you begin to live without needing the world to clap for you, something incredible happens. You become emotionally untouchable. You win in silence. You detach from outcomes. And suddenly, you are no longer begging the world to validate you. You are building yourself in a way that commands quiet respect. Epictetus, who lived much of his life as a slave, said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do." He didn't say that from a position of comfort. He said that from the heart of hardship. He understood that surrendering expectations isn't weakness, it's emotional discipline. And it is this mental discipline that sets you free. Because when you stop seeing yourself as a victim of what others didn't give you, you reclaim your energy and direct it where it matters: your character, your habits, your mission. So yes, the truth hurts. No one owes you anything. But that's exactly why you are free. You're not waiting for kindness. You're not chasing fairness. You're not negotiating for your worth. You stand, you act, and you let the results take care of themselves. That is power. That is peace. And that is the kind of strength that can never be taken, only built, quietly, daily, by you. to your emotions are your responsibility, not theirs. Who was the last person who made you angry? A friend who canceled last minute? A coworker who took credit for your idea? Or maybe it was just a stranger who gave you a look you didn't like. Now pause for a second. Ask yourself this. Did they truly make you angry? Or did you allow yourself to become angry? That's the uncomfortable truth Stoicism puts in front of us. Your emotions are not the result of what people do to you. They're the result of how you choose to interpret what happens. The moment you accept that, something changes inside you. You stop blaming, you stop reacting like a puppet, you start reclaiming your emotional power, bit by bit, quietly, with discipline. It's easy to think you're calm until someone touches the wrong nerve. It's easy to say you're in control until a passive-aggressive text or a careless comment flips your mood upside down. But here's the harsh truth. If others can control your emotions with a sentence, a stare, or even their silence, then you're not in control at all. You've given away your peace for free, traded it for a moment of righteous outrage or validation. And what Stoic wisdom teaches is this: you can't control people, but you can control how you respond. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't speaking from theory. He led Rome through war, plague, and betrayal, and still practiced restraint. That isn't coldness, that's power. We live in a world that rewards emotional outbursts. We're told to speak our truth, to react, to defend, to explain ourselves constantly. But reacting isn't power, it's dependency. When you explode at someone's ignorance, when you sulk because someone didn't notice your effort, when you lash out to prove a point, you think you're winning, but you're not. You're proving they have power over you. True strength is being able to observe an emotion without obeying it. You feel it, but you don't act on it blindly. You pause, you assess, you ask, is this worth my energy? Is there truth in this feedback, or is this just noise? And here's where emotional self-control becomes something deeper. It's not about being passive, it's about being strategic. Because when you react to every offense, you lose focus. You become easy to manipulate. But when you learn to stay composed, to respond, not react, you become someone people can't shake. Someone who walks with quiet confidence. Someone who is untriggerable. That doesn't mean you suppress what you feel. It means you no longer hand your emotional state over to the chaos around you. Imagine your emotions like a storm. Most people stand in the center of it, getting tossed around, yelling, crying, and crashing into others. But the Stoic walks to the edge, watches, waits, decides when and how to move. That's not weakness, that's emotional mastery. And it's not built in a day, it's trained daily. Every time you pause instead of react, you build inner strength. Every time you choose silence over an unnecessary fight, you become more powerful. This is the kind of strength no one sees, but everyone feels when you enter a room. So the next time someone cuts you off in traffic, criticizes your work, or forgets your birthday, don't rush to explode. Don't hand them the remote to your emotions. Take it back. Breathe. Respond on your terms, because your mind is yours. And when you finally own that truth, no one, not your ex, not your boss, not a stranger online, can control you again. That's not just stoicism, that's freedom. 3. You will die. Maybe sooner than you think. There are mornings when you rush out the door and forget to hug your wife. Days when you glance at your son's text, "I miss you, Dad," and think, "I'll reply later." Nights when you see your mother's name flash on the screen and you silence it, whispering to yourself, "I'll call her tomorrow." But what if there is no tomorrow? What if the next time you meant to show up, say something, or simply be present never comes? That's not fear-mongering. It's the quiet reminder Stoicism gives us with the phrase memento mori. Remember, you will die. Death doesn't knock. It walks in, uninvited, unapologetic, and without warning. It doesn't ask if you're ready or if you have plans. It doesn't care if you still have words to say or love left to give. And yet, most of us live as though we've been promised a lifetime, scrolling past moments, pushing off conversations, numbing ourselves with routine. We delay kindness, we postpone truth, we act like we're immortal, but we're not. And that's the paradox. The more we avoid death, the more we forget how to live. The Stoics didn't fear death, they befriended it. Seneca wrote farewell letters even before short trips, not out of paranoia, but out of presence. He understood the value of a moment precisely because he knew how easily it could vanish. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each day that death was not a threat, but a mirror. It reflects back everything we've ignored. Every time you avoid a tough conversation, every time you procrastinate something meaningful, every time you hold back love or an apology or effort, you are assuming you'll get another chance. But none of us is guaranteed that. And here's the truth that hits even harder. Dying isn't the tragedy. The tragedy is being alive but never truly living. It's wasting years chasing things that don't matter. It's waiting for the right time to pursue something meaningful. It's keeping your feelings locked inside, hoping the world will guess your heart. It's becoming a ghost long before your final breath. The presence of death isn't meant to paralyze you. It's meant to wake you up, to make you choose better. Speak kindly. Live fuller. Not later, now. Because living like you'll never die gives you the illusion of time. But living like you might, that gives you clarity. You look someone in the eyes longer. You put down the phone, you write the letter, you forgive, because resentment takes too much life to carry. You listen, because time is too short to always be right. You love without games, without ego, without waiting for guarantees. That's the power of memento mori. Not to haunt you, but to soften your pride and sharpen your presence. And no, it doesn't mean quitting your job or burning down your to-do list. It means doing the same things with more purpose, showing up to the same life but with different eyes. It means you walk through your day knowing this could be the last time you drink coffee in that chair, hear your child's laughter from the hallway, or feel the wind touch your face as you step outside. That realization doesn't make life heavier. It makes it sacred. So the next time you find yourself pushing off what matters for the sake of something urgent but empty, stop. Ask yourself, if today were the end, would I be proud of how I spent it? Not in what I achieved, but in how I lived. Because the truth hurts. Yes, you will die, maybe sooner than you think. But that truth, if you face it, can become your greatest guide. It can strip away the noise. And what's left? It is a life lived with depth, love, and meaning. Not forever, but fully. 4. Right action. Let go of the outcome. You've crafted the perfect resume. Sleek design, powerful language, even a clever little quote at the top that makes you seem both wise and humble. You triple check for typos, attach your portfolio like it's the trailer for a blockbuster, hit send, and then silence. No email, no thank you for applying, not even a polite rejection, just a digital void. And in that moment, it feels like betrayal. You gave it your all. You stayed up late, you revised until your eyes hurt. Shouldn't the universe reward that? But here's where Stoic wisdom slices through the noise. No, it shouldn't. Because you are not entitled to results. You are responsible only for your actions. That's a hard truth to swallow, especially in a world that tells us effort equals outcome. But Stoicism never made that promise. You can do everything right and still not get what you hoped for. You can show up with discipline, intention, even love, and still be overlooked. But if your value is tied to the reaction, then your peace will always belong to someone else. The Stoic response? Do what is right because it is right, not because it guarantees a return. That mindset changes everything. Imagine planting a tree. You water it, tend to the soil, and protect it from storms, and one day, maybe the fruit comes. Maybe it doesn't. But either way, you showed up as a gardener, not a gambler. That's what Stoic action looks like. Rooted, not reactive. Purposeful, not performative. It's understanding that the fruit may not come in your timing or may never come at all, but the integrity you built by showing up daily is its own reward. Take Simone Biles, one of the greatest athletes of our time. The world expected perfection in the Tokyo Olympics, but in a moment of immense pressure, she stepped back. Not because she wasn't capable, but because she understood the cost of pushing forward in the wrong state of mind. She didn't chase the outcome, she protected her foundation. Her decision didn't win gold, but it won something far greater: self-respect. She reminded us all that right action isn't about applause, it's about alignment. And this applies far beyond sports. You prepare for a relationship, you show up for someone with honesty, vulnerability, and consistency, and still, they walk away. You launch a project with vision, effort, and all the quiet hours no one saw, and it falls flat. That's not failure. That's life. You're not bending to your will. But that doesn't mean your actions were meaningless. Letting go of the outcome doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing the world to validate your worth. In truth, this principle sets you free. It liberates you from anxiety, from the highs and lows of external judgment, from the toxic loop of overthinking results. It allows you to focus on what you can control: your energy, your process, your quiet commitment. And once you do that, you begin to build something unshakable, a mental discipline that doesn't break just because the outcome did. You stop being reactive. You start becoming intentional. So the next time you hit send, show up, open your heart, or take a risk, don't do it for the claps. Do it because it's aligned with who you want to be. Do it because showing up with integrity is your real power. And if the world doesn't respond the way you hoped, let it be. You planted the tree, the fruit will come or it won't. But your roots, they're deeper now. And no one can take that from you. 5. Pain is the silent teacher, brutal but true. I once fractured my wrist slipping on the stairs. Rushing out the door, laces untied, thoughts scattered. The fall was quick, but what came after was slow. The physical pain wasn't even the worst part. It was the stillness, the silence that followed. The kind where the noise in your head becomes louder than anything outside. The doctor said, "You'll need to rest for a few weeks." But my mind didn't rest. It panicked. Who am I if I'm not doing something useful? Can I still be of value if I can't produce, solve, fix, or move? That's when I understood. Sometimes pain doesn't just break your bones. It cracks open parts of you that were too proud to be touched. And in that raw space, the teaching begins. Stoicism doesn't romanticize pain, but it doesn't flinch from it either. It looks painful in the eye and says, "You're not here to destroy me, you're here to reveal me." Because pain is a mirror, a brutal one. It strips you of excuses, of reputation, of the illusion of control. And what's left is the real you, bare, trembling, and faced with a choice: surrender or grow. That's the unspoken gift of pain. It won't hand you comfort, it hands you the truth. And while that truth stings, it also sharpens. It reminds you that strength isn't built in ease, it's revealed in resistance. Think of a time you were broken, physically, emotionally, maybe both. A loss, a betrayal, a failure so loud it echoed through your body. Did you notice how clearly you began to see everything? How the masks dropped, the noise faded, and your priorities rearranged themselves without asking? That's not a coincidence. That's pain doing what it does best, cutting through the clutter, forcing you to rebuild not from ego, but from essence. It shows you what matters, it shows you what's real, and it forces you to let go of what isn't. Frida Kahlo, the legendary painter, lived most of her life in pain, a shattered spine, endless surgeries, a body that betrayed her daily. But she didn't run from it. She painted it. She faced her agony with brushstrokes that didn't ask for pity, only truth. Her art wasn't clean. It was fierce, vivid, and unapologetic. And through that, she didn't just survive, she became immortal. That's what happens when you stop trying to escape your wounds and instead ask them what they're here to teach you. Your scars aren't the enemy. They are chapters in your story, and sometimes they hold the deepest wisdom. Pain humbles you, it brings you to your knees, but it also clears the fog, it forces silence. And in that silence, you begin to hear the parts of yourself you've ignored. You meet your fears, your insecurities, your truth. And from there, if you're willing, you rise, stronger, clearer. Not louder, but more grounded. That's what Stoics mean when they say pain is a teacher. It doesn't shout. It waits. It whispers. And only those willing to sit with discomfort long enough will understand its language. So no, you don't have to love the pain. You don't have to pretend it's noble. But don't run from it either. Don't numb it, deny it, or bury it beneath distractions. Let it shape you. Let it speak. Because once you've endured something real, something that didn't break you but broke something false inside you, you no longer chase shallow victories. You no longer fear discomfort. You stand differently. And that posture, that quiet resilience, it's not fake, it's not forced, it's earned, and it lasts. Because pain, as brutal as it is, doesn't just leave you weaker, it gives you back to yourself. 6. No discipline, no freedom. You can eat anything you want. You can binge Netflix until 3 a.m. You can skip your workout, sleep in until noon, blow your paycheck on things you don't need, and nobody will stop you. Sounds like freedom, right? But let's be honest, do you actually feel free? Are you waking up clear-headed, energized, and proud of yourself? Is your bank account growing, your health improving, your mind becoming sharper? Or are you just floating, barely holding it together beneath the surface of temporary pleasures? That's the paradox Stoicism exposes with brutal clarity. What most people call freedom is often just dependency wrapped in convenience. You think you're in control because no one's telling you what to do. But if you can't say no to your impulses, you're not free. You're a slave to them. If your phone dictates how you spend your mornings, if your cravings decide what you eat, if your moods control how you treat others, then the problem isn't the world. It's you. And that's where Stoic philosophy hits hardest. You don't get to claim freedom if you haven't earned it through discipline. Real freedom isn't about doing whatever you feel like. It's about mastering your energy so you can do what matters most, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline doesn't look glamorous. It's quiet. It's waking up when no one's watching. It's choosing the salad over the sugar. It's turning your phone off when your brain begs for dopamine. It's doing the hard thing now so your future self doesn't pay the price. Stoics understood this well. Epictetus was a slave, but still considered one of the freest men in history, not because of his circumstances, but because of his mindset. He trained his thoughts. He governed his reactions. He chose action over excuse. Meanwhile, you can live in the freest society on earth, have every opportunity at your fingertips, and still be imprisoned by procrastination, by emotional chaos, by your refusal to build habits that anchor you. When you lack discipline, you don't float, you drift. And drifting always leads you somewhere you didn't intend to go. But when you're disciplined, you start living with clarity. You choose your path. You build an inner compass, not based on how you feel in the moment, but on who you're trying to become. That shift, however small, transforms everything. It takes you from reactivity to purpose, from chaos to control. And that's the essence of what Stoicism teaches. Freedom is not the absence of rules, it's the presence of self-command. Yes, discipline feels like restriction at first, but long-term, it's what gives you room to breathe. The freedom to walk into any situation knowing you've done the work, the peace that comes from keeping promises to yourself. The pride of becoming dependable, not just for others, but for you. It's not about perfection. You'll slip, you'll get lazy. But the point is that you now see through the illusion. You no longer confuse indulgence with liberation. You no longer mistake comfort for strength. You know now the quiet power you crave, the balance you admire in others, the calm under pressure. It doesn't come from motivation, it comes from discipline, practiced daily, whether you feel like it or not. So the next time you call chaos freedom, pause. Look closer. If you're constantly tired, distracted, behind on your goals, and frustrated with yourself, maybe you're not free at all. Maybe you're just undisciplined, and that's fixable. That's what makes this truth so hard and so empowering. Because once you stop lying to yourself about what freedom really is, you can finally begin to build it. Not overnight, not loudly, but daily, with discipline. 7. Not everyone will understand you, and that's okay. There are moments when you say something you believe in, and the room goes quiet. Not out of respect, but out of judgment. You feel it in their glance, in the awkward silence, in the way the conversation shifts without acknowledging what you just said. You laugh it off, or worse, you shrink. You edit yourself. You say less next time. You stop showing your full self because deep down, you've been taught this quiet lie, that being accepted is more important than being honest. And yet, every time you abandon your truth for comfort, something in you starts to wither. Stoicism doesn't beg you to be understood. It dares you to stay whole, even when you're misunderstood. You've probably deleted a post you believed in because no one reacted. Maybe you once hid your passion because someone made a joke about it. Maybe you kept quiet in a meeting because your idea didn't sound like everyone else's. You're not alone. Most people know that ache, and yet they live their whole lives avoiding that feeling, choosing approval over authenticity. But what if this discomfort you feel when you're truly seen is not a weakness, but a sign you're actually living honestly for once? That you're no longer just blending in, but becoming someone who stands on their own with quiet confidence. The truth is, not everyone will understand you. Some people won't get your values. Some won't like your calm energy. Some will be bothered by how grounded you are because it reflects the chaos they haven't dealt with in themselves. That's not your fault. That's not your burden. And it's not your job to shrink so they feel more comfortable. Your responsibility is to live in alignment, not in apology. Because if the love you receive is only offered when you wear a mask, then that love was never for you. It was for the costume you were forced to put on. Galileo was silenced for daring to speak the truth. His ideas threatened the comfort of the crowd, so they tried to erase him. But time, as it always does, proved the truth didn't need to shout. It just needed someone willing to stand by it. You're not Galileo, but you will face moments where choosing your truth means losing approval, where your values put you at odds with what's trending, where staying real costs you a seat at the table. But the peace that comes from not betraying yourself is worth more than any shallow validation. There will be days when your silence feels like safety and your truth feels like risk. But remember, you can't build an unshakable mindset if you keep asking others for permission to be who you are. The Stoics didn't live to be liked. They lived to be in integrity. And so should you. You don't need the world to clap. You don't need the comments to agree. You just need to be able to look in the mirror at the end of the day and say, I stood where I needed to stand. That's where quiet power comes from. That's how you become someone they can't shake, even if they never say your name. So if you've ever been mocked for your silence, judged for your intensity, or misunderstood because you chose to walk your own path, know this: you are not wrong. You are rare. And rare things aren't always appreciated at first. They're just harder to ignore in the long run. Not everyone will understand you, and that's not only okay, it's necessary. Because your truth was never meant to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. It was meant to set you free. The truth hurts, not because it breaks you, but because it wakes you up. And in a world full of distractions, illusions, and noise, hearing what's real can feel like a punch to the chest. But it's also the beginning of something deeper: clarity, growth, and freedom. When you stop expecting, when you take full responsibility for your emotions, when you accept that death is not some distant shadow, but a constant reminder to live, you become unshakable. And when you let go of the outcome, when you face pain instead of avoiding it, when you build discipline and no longer fear misunderstanding, you rise with quiet strength. These aren't just concepts, they're daily practices, simple shifts, quiet choices, Stoic habits that train your mindset and help you protect your energy, reclaim your peace, and carry yourself with calm power. This is not about perfection. It's about truth. Truth that transforms, if you have the courage to sit with it. If something in this video struck a chord with you, share your story in the comments below. Let others know they're not alone. And if you're ready to hear more truths that challenge you and guide you, like this video and subscribe for what's coming next, because the journey is just beginning.